All right, welcome to Mine Explorers episode 52, where I just got back from AME Roundup and the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, otherwise known as VRIC.
That's right. I am excited to hear how the show was. I wasn't able to attend because I was watching your kids. We survived, thank goodness.
That's good.
But tell me about the show, because I know it's one of the bigger shows in the exploration space. It brings in a lot of people.
For North America.
For North America, yes. For North America, it brings it. You have 44 countries coming together for a week. It's pretty impressive.
44 countries.
44 countries from all over the world.
And that's Roundup.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's Roundup. Yeah.
Yeah, so Roundup had at least 7,500 people this year, if not 8,000.
Yep.
Very well attended. Roundup tends to be more geoscientists, geologists, exploration executives. It's a lot of that. There was constant action around the core shed and the prospect generators area.
That's good.
Yeah, lots of action, lots of people looking at rocks.
That's good. I remember,
our booth is just down from there, and it was crowded the whole time.
That's awesome, because I remember being at Roundup. It's been a couple years since I've been able to attend, but I remember like 3-4 years ago going to the core shed, and it was a little quiet.
Not this time.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. And they moved it, so it's right in the middle of the show, too.
Oh, okay.
It used to kind of be off to the sides, at least some of it, or the prospect generators were off to the side.
Yeah.
And now they're all in the middle. So the
good.
excitement's in the middle, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so that was good. A lot of people there, and then the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference, VRIC, had over 10,000 people.
Holy cow.
So they were expecting 10,000, and the first day, so many people showed up, they were just letting people in because the lines got so long. And so, like, when I went over there, they didn't even give me a badge or anything. I just went in.
You just walked right in.
Because there were so many people.
Wow.
So it was crowded. I talked to lots of our clients on the floor, and they said there were big differences. So it's more of a investment conference. So you get a lot of investors, retail investors, investors from different funds and groups and things. So they come in, institutional and stuff. And I know a lot of the retail investors and stuff would come in and like get upset with and pretty aggressive with a lot of our clients and junior guys on the floor in years past about stagnation in share price and things that are largely out of their control, no interest in the stock, things like that. And this year people were coming in, they were excited, there were handshakes and hugs. There's a lot going on there, so.
Fantastic.
Yep, a lot more smiles this year. That was the big thing I noticed is at both conferences, there was a lot more smiles, a lot more mood. But, and this is probably a bit of a pivot into our next conversation, we were hitting all-time highs in gold and silver every single day of the conference.
Yes.
And that's never happened before.
The all-time high for gold was on the 29th of January at 55.97.
Yep, and that's right in the middle of the conference.
That's insane.
So everybody was watching that go. And of course, they do, the Toronto Stock Exchange does the closing bell, and they do live reporting and stuff from Roundup and things. So there's a lot of excitement there. It was interesting because, there's a lot of exuberance, but also we've all been through bull markets before, most of us anyway. We've been through bear markets. We've seen this exuberance and the crash and stuff. So while everyone was pretty excited, there wasn't a lot of like over exuberance because there's a lot of volatility like we saw today. So now with the metals, Trump has said that he would like to nominate Warsh for the next Fed chair. And he leans more hawkish, which is more good. It's better for the dollar. So it's bullish for the dollar, which means the precious metals it's bearish for. And so we've seen a huge pullback today. I know this is going to air on Tuesday, but today it's Friday. And there's a huge pullback. As of this morning, silver was down like 14%, gold's down like 8%.
Yeah, so silver's
huge down day.
Silver's 99 and gold today is 5,051.
Yeah. So it's finding support. Silver's finding support around that $100 level, and gold's finding support around that $5,000 level, which is still fantastic for the industry. I mean, the silver miners' margins are going to be insane. For any gold miners who are updating their resources this year, doing PEAs, PFS, feasibility, they can start looking at higher gold prices. Obviously, nobody's serious is pricing at 5,000, but you know, a lot of resource estimates that I look at now are a few years old and they're still at like $2,000 gold. So some of them you'll see, you know, go up to 2,500, 3,000, which significantly better economics, significantly better payback periods, significantly better margins, and just all around, you can look at lower grades too. The economics change, so bigger resources as well. So
things can be more economical now.
Yeah, and Canada is a different place. So I watched TV in the gym and then a little bit here and there in the evenings just to unwind. And nationally, the federal government is running ads that talk about the importance of developing critical minerals and mining in Canada.
Interesting.
Yeah. Federally sponsored.
Okay, well that's good.
Advertising, talking about making Canada stronger again and things, and it specifically mentions critical minerals development, which is really interesting. And then, of course, because there's the Toronto Stock Exchange and it's so heavily towards resources, I watched their equivalent of CNBC, which is the financial news with the tickers and everything, and it's all gold miner, resource stocks, things like that. And they have a lot of commentary about that. They have a lot of guests on who are related to resources and mining. So it's just a whole different vibe. It's such a different part of their culture, where here it's like
such an afterthought.
Yeah, you turn on the financial news and it's like, what's NVIDIA up to? What's
Amazon,
Tesla up to? What's Amazon up to? And mining might get a little mention here and there, especially lately. Like I noticed Kramer's starting to talk more about gold and silver and things like that, which is, depending on how you take it, a bearish sign or a bullish sign. It's I tend to think it's bearish, but just a different vibe. So it was good. It was really positive. And what it means for junior explorers, you know, there's a lot of focus on domestic projects. So there were a lot of Canadian projects that are getting traction, that are getting a lot of interest. They're getting interest from investors, they're getting interest from governments. There's a lot more pro-permitting, let's develop in Canada, but also for US projects. I didn't see many in the Project Generators Hub or the Core Shack. I didn't see many US projects at all because I think they're all vended, being developed. They're partnering, they're doing JVs and stuff, and so they're not making the circuits as much to try to raise capital. And then, of course, the Australians are super bullish US, anything to do with critical minerals.
Good.
They're coming in hard. They're doing a lot of work.
No, we love working with the Australians. They are fantastic clients.
Yeah, they want to come in. They want to stake everything. They want to do a lot of work. Yeah.
Well, I really like their approach because usually they're excited. They want to move really fast, but they also they don't understand the process here, but they let us do our job. Yep. So it's a really good dynamic because they're not, because you know sometimes we get the junior investors who just want to do things hot and fast and they don't care about doing it correctly. But usually with the Australians, they're like, just do it the way you need to. We'll step back, let you do your job, and then we'll take it over when we need to. So they're usually great partners.
Yeah, and not surprisingly, like I spent a lot of time talking to Brian Goss from Rangefront. And they, you know, obviously we have a lot of similar services and a lot of crossover, and he's seeing the exact same thing too. They're coming to him and they're wanting to stake all sorts of stuff. They're wanting to do a lot of projects. They're wanting to move very quickly.
Good.
And so we're seeing that across the board. But, you know, and on the flip side of that, another thing we talked about quite a bit up there in our conversations is you know, the BLM and the adjudication process and things is
Uh-huh.
going to become an acute situation pretty quickly. It already is. It's going to become more acute because now there's this big rush. So anything antimony related, a lot of things tungsten related, uranium, and then obviously gold and silver. No, there's not a huge uptick in those projects right now, but there will be, especially more speculative, frothy, you know, not so great projects are going to get a lot of attention.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be a lot of competition for the same areas. And with a lack of adjudication and a lack of records being updated and things, there's a lot of overstaking going on.
It's going to get messy.
A lot of claim jumping, a lot of, you know, potential litigation and things. So,
yeah, a lot of
you know,
claim
it's
jumping.
a good time to continue to focus on doing things right, but also,
yeah, having a strong paper trail is going to be really helpful.
making sure things are well documented. But then I think speed is really key. I mean, right now, if you have, and this is something we said to a lot of people, and I'll keep repeating a lot this year, is if you have an idea and you're looking at an area and you're interested in it, it's getting time to secure it now, at least have some sort of a position, and then do research later. Like,
Yeah.
you got to move fast.
I mean, that's a good point because staking with the county is usually pretty cost effective. And you have 90 days before you need to file with the BLM.
Right.
So you can do a quick exploration within that time period.
Yeah, and at least get some soil samples or some chip samples or
something.
You know, potentially collect a little bit of geophysics and stuff to be able to pinpoint some targets before you move forward. But
yeah, and I mean, and our landman team has been pretty good about documenting outcrops that they find when they're staking, and taking notes and photographs and that kind of thing. So
yeah, and depending on what you're looking at, you know, that stuff can be really useful. So
right.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of volatility still in gold and silver.
Oh yeah.
These like huge up down 5+% days are not going to be uncommon. And I think we're going to still see a lot of strength in the Asian markets overnight, and then probably selling down into the US market and maybe catching up towards the end of the day. So like even today we saw a huge sell down in the morning on the Warsh news. Strong dollar, big sell down, but I think towards the end of the day you could see some people buying that dip a little bit. And then into the Asian markets, like that has not tapered. They're going to still keep buying. So I think structurally, we're still very much in a bull market, but there's going to be a lot of volatility. So it'll be interesting. But I mean, for us in exploration and mining, we're all happy. I mean, honestly, we'd all be thrilled with just consistent $70 silver and $4,500 gold.
Oh, for sure. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, just consistently. So we don't need all this frothiness, but and honestly, it's not helping the miners because the metals are having these huge up days and huge down days, and the miners are getting very little, if not any, up on the up days and then being sold down on the down days. And what that tells me is most investors in the mining stocks are still not buying this rally. They're not buying this market. They don't think it's sustainable. They don't think it's going to last. I mean, I think there's pretty much 50-50. People think, okay, this is a bubble.
Right.
And all the metals prices are going to crash. And then the other half is like, no, fundamentally, structurally, this is different. And we're going to keep climbing with volatility. And so until I think a majority believes that this is longer term, we're not going to see the miners really take off. Now, with that said, they've done really well. Most are up, 200% over a year or two ago, at least people with good projects and things. But we're not seeing, 400% like we're seeing in silver prices and things. So it'll be interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. And then copper. Very interesting. And copper's definitely volatility and some strong up and down moves. There's rumors about, potential margin calls and things like that going on in copper. Some squeezes, physical supply. Obviously, demand is climbing and supply is not climbing as fast as demand. So we see copper up above $6. It seems to be holding. There's a lot of resistance around that $6 pound. And we've been trying to break through for a while, popping up, down, and around. But copper is I'm still very bullish on copper in the long term, and also uranium.
Why the resistance?
It's just, there's a big psychological threshold there. It's $6 a pound. And so it's been range bound in that 450 to 550 range for such a long time.
Right.
And so it needs to break out and stay above that for long enough to start establishing a new floor around
We kind of saw that in
$6.
gold too. I remember like breaking 3,000 was a milestone event.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you tend to get these psychological barriers that hold around like nice even numbers. That's just human behavior. And then there's a lot more to it. I mean, there's a lot more technical and fundamental reasons why, but if we can stay above it, that will establish as a new floor and it'll start heading up from there. You could see, 650 kind of as an average this year.
It's going to make everything more expensive as copper climbs.
Absolutely. And similarly with silver, I've read that at some point if silver gets high enough, so a lot of silver, 80% of silver demand is driven by industry.
Right.
Because it's used in everything.
Yes.
I've read that around $130 an ounce, there's alternative alloys that become really attractive.
Interesting. Interesting.
That's what I've read. I don't know how quickly adoption happens above that. I don't know what kind of technological hurdles, things like that. Silver's a fantastic conductor. Gold is even better, but gold is not cheaper by any means. So, but right now at $100, it's still being used very heavily in industry. That's not going to damper it. You're going to see a damper put on it if it starts climbing. I think, above 150 and higher, which is entirely possible this year.
It's going to be a wild ride.
But there'll be a lot of volatility.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could see a drop down to 80 again. You could see gold break below 5,000 and go as low as 4,500 potentially this year. But I think it's going to close the year out closer to where it was this last week, if not higher. So
yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, it's going to be an exciting year is all I know.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Yeah. Definitely.
We will go with it.
Yeah, and for the show, welcome to 2026. We had a great episode last week with Richard Bishop, and Dr. Bishop talked about a lot of things related to critical minerals, and really well received episode. A lot of comments, a lot of feedback, which was great. And then we've got a lot of other guests coming up, and a lot of interesting things to talk about, and so that'll be exciting. Next up on the conference circuit, so we're in January. January is almost over. We're into February. I'm going to be speaking at the Frac Sand Conference in Houston, and that'll be interesting because oil and shale and fracking is a very different commodity, very different cycle. There's also some very interesting things going on there, especially with wet-dry processing and that balance, and how there's people starting to do more wet fracking, wet processing, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have SME coming up here in Salt Lake City, the big SME mine exchange.
End of February.
End of February, we'll have a booth. We have a mixer coming up, and we will try to schedule several guests for that one and maybe bring some into the studio.
That'll be fun.
Be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, And we'll see you next time for episode 53.
Woo.
Bye.